My name is Scott Aitchison. I'm the Member of Parliament for Parry Sound Muskoka and the Conservative Shadow Minister for Housing. I'm here with my good friend and colleague Amarjeet Gill. He's the Member of Parliament for Brampton West, and also, of course, with the Leader of His Majesty's Official Opposition to make an important announcement about housing. You know, buying a home was a pretty standard thing in the life of a family, especially a young family, for many years in Canada. Home ownership continued to grow decade after decade, peaking, frankly, in the last Conservative government. But after years and years of liberal growth-killing policies and an out-of-control immigration system, that dream is all but lost for far too many young people and young families in our country, many of whom have given up the idea of maybe even starting a family now. They've given up the dream of owning a home. And this is what we need to change. That dream of home ownership should be a right of all Canadians. It's also about the important work that great builders like Deco Homes does, who are hosting us here today, and the great tradespeople that work in this industry. It's a very important industry. And so we have an important announcement today to talk about what we will do to make things better and to improve the situation and get more homes built in Canada and restore the dream of home ownership to young people once again. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce the Leader of His Majesty's Official Opposition, Mr. Pierre Poilievre.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Scott. Thank you, Scott, for that kind introduction. And Scott is, of course, from Muskoka, where he was the mayor. That's why he has such a beautiful golden tan. He gets to represent cottage country, almost as beautiful up there as it is in Battle River Crowfoot. But it is great to have a shadow minister of housing who actually has success as a former mayor getting housing built by cutting the taxes and the development charges and the wait times so that building can happen. What a contrast with Justin Trudeau, with Mark Carney. Mark Carney's housing minister, Gregor Robertson, the guy who increased housing costs in Vancouver by 149% and more than doubled home building taxes. And his punishment for that terrible job he did as Vancouver mayor is that Mark Carney made him his housing minister. We also have Amarjeet Gill, hardworking champion of the people of Brampton. And of course, we're here at Deco with the incredible de Gasperis family, who are the story, really bring the story of the Canadian Promise, wonderful Italian family who came here and, like all the Italians who came, built this country. Literally built this country, the Italian immigrants to this country built roads, they built homes, some of our most beautiful buildings and some of our most impressive businesses, and they came here with nothing. That really was the Canadian Promise. I wonder if the de Gasperis family were to have arrived now, whether they would have been able to build a business like this. And I see someone shaking their head to the negative on that question. After a decade of liberal taxes, liberal spending, out of control liberal immigration, reckless crime policies, the Canadian Promise is really broken. We see an entire generation priced out of home ownership. We see rampaging crime in our streets. We see overcrowded communities as a result of immigration adding people 3 times faster than we add homes and jobs. We see job losses. We see the worst economy in the G7. That's the promise of Canada, broken after a decade of Liberals. Now, Mark Carney promised to be different. Instead, he's worse than Justin Trudeau. He said he would spend less, but his first estimates bill has the government spending 8% more, with the lion's share going to high-priced consultants and bureaucracy. He said that he would have more investment, invest more, he said. Yet since he became Prime Minister, $62 billion of net investment has left Canada, almost all of it going to the United States of America, in what the National Bank described as the biggest net outflow of investment in any 5-month period in history. He said he would be elbows up that he was going to handle Donald Trump and negotiate a win by July the 21st. Ever since, he's been elbows down. He has secured no deal, and he has made concession after concession while getting absolutely nothing in return. He said he would build, baby, build. That was a quote. Well, build what? Let's start with national projects. He said he would build at unimaginable speeds. Yet not only is there 0 national projects under construction today, 6 months after he took office, in fact, he has not granted a single permit for a major project to go ahead. He hasn't even published a list of projects he might one day consider expediting for approval. Meanwhile, there are 39 projects that are sitting in the bureaucracy waiting for approval for which Mark Carney only needs to get out of the way. And yet nothing is getting built, nothing is getting done, and our economy is collapsing. He said that he would create jobs. Yet since he took office, there are 86,000 fewer people working today than there were when he started off. In fact, unemployment is now the 2nd highest in the G7. And speaking of the G7, he has promised to give the fastest growth in the G7, when in reality he has given an economy that is shrinking fastest in the G7. Again, he promised we'd be growing the fastest in the G7. In reality, we are shrinking the fastest. The single worst economy in the G7 today, after 6 months of Mark Carney's promises. On a vu que M. Carney a brisé toutes ses promesses. Il a dit qu'on allait avoir l'économie qui allait grandir le plus rapidement dans le G7. C'est en train de contracter le plus rapidement parmi les pays du G7. C'est la pire économie dans le G7. On a le 2e pire taux de chômage. Le coût du logement continue d'accélérer. L'inflation alimentaire augmente. Il a dit qu'il allait avoir un deal avec Trump le 21 juillet. 2 mois plus tard, il n'y a pas de deal et M. Carney continue de faire une concession après l'autre. Il a dit qu'il allait bâtir des grandes choses. Mais en 6 mois, il n'y a même pas un seul permis de construction livré pour un projet d'importance nationale. Donc, M. Carney fait rien de différent que Trudeau. En fait, M. Carney est pire que Trudeau. And, of course, nowhere is that more true than in housing. Now, we've been talking for years about the Liberal housing crisis, and they doubled the cost. They priced an entire generation out of homes. They did this through out-of-control money printing and immigration, which inflated demand, and funding local bureaucracies and high taxes that block construction and supply. That's nothing new. You say, well, of course we have a housing crisis after 10 years of Liberals. There's nothing new in that. But I'm here today to talk about the next Liberal housing crisis. So this crisis has changed into something new and even worse than there was before. They first inflated the housing bubble, and now Liberals are bursting the housing bubble. The bubble is bursting, and it is hemorrhaging jobs and construction right across the country. Nowhere worse than here in Ontario. The facts are staggering. First of all, let's start with the promise that he would double home building. Well, according to Mr. Carney's own housing agency, home building is expected to plummet by 13% over the next 2 years. But here in the GTA, year over year, it is down 49%. In Kelowna, it's down 36%. Pre-sales are down 48%, and they are 82% below the 10-year average. You talk to home builders in the GTA today, and they will tell you this is the worst they have ever seen it in generations. I've talked to home builders that have been in this business for 50 years, and they say they have never witnessed this kind of carnage in the housing sector. What does this mean? It means that not only will there be a shortage of homes because they're not getting built, but soon there will be mass layoffs, and we're already seeing it. The Canadian Home Builders say that Canadian Home Builders Associations say that 35% of their members are already laying people off. The Residential Construction Council says that the sector is already laying off thousands of people. And that's happening mostly in the Greater Toronto Area, where unemployment is already facing near record highs. We see nationwide 86,000 fewer people working today than when Mr. Carney took office. And in the summer alone, July and August, we lost 106,000 jobs, a staggering number, to give us the second highest unemployment rate in the G7. Here's the crisis that is going to unfold. If these trades workers lose their jobs, we may never get them back. They will have to move to find work. They may leave the housing sector altogether. And then 3 years from now, the housing shortage will be even worse than it is right now. Mr. Carney has accomplished the impossible. It is a triple crisis, with prices too high for buyers to buy, too low for sellers to sell, and inadequate for builders to build. How can all those things be true? How is it that it's too high to buy but too low to build? Well, the answer is that most of the money is going to government. 30% of the cost of a new home in Ontario today is direct taxes. 50%, as much as 50%, is related to land use regulations. In Vancouver today, fully 60% of the cost of a new home is government. Taxes, charges, delays, fees, lawyers, accountants. More money for a new home goes to bureaucrats in government buildings than goes to the carpenters, electricians, and plumbers who actually build the home. Now, governments keep talking about how they have these wonderful plans for home building. You know what they need to do? Only one thing. Get out of the way. Get out of the way. These men and women back here, they know how to build homes. They know how to frame a house, to swing a hammer, to lay a foundation, to prepare the land. They know how to build homes. We have great home builders who know how to build homes. The only thing they need is permission. But they can't get it because of slow bureaucracy and blocking things from going ahead. And so today, Conservatives, we're not just going to oppose Mark Carney and Liberal failures. We're not just going to hold them accountable for the Liberal immigration crisis, the Liberal cost of living crisis, the Liberal crime crisis, and the Liberal jobs crisis. We're actually going to propose solutions. As we go back to Parliament, we want Mark Carney and the Liberals to steal our best ideas so that we can reverse the damage that they have done. And so today I join with my Shadow Minister of Housing, Scott Aitchison, to call for the Liberals to immediately reverse the policies that have caused this new housing crisis with a 4-point plan. 1, axe the federal sales tax for all home buyers. I hear someone over here is giving a round of applause. She might be buying a home soon. For all home buyers, not just first-time home buyers, and for homes up to $1.3 million. 2, axe the capital gains tax on any monies reinvested in home building. So if a business or an individual sells an asset, they enjoy a capital gain, but they reinvest it in home building, there should be no capital gains tax. This will cause a building boom right across the country. 3, incentivize municipalities to free up land, speed up permits, and cut their own development charges. The Prime Minister claimed that he was going to cut development charges nationwide by half. Since he took office, those charges have actually gone up. I'm calling for the Prime Minister to put the resources in the budget so that we can incentivize municipalities to cut the taxes they charge on building new homes. And 4th, get immigration under control. We can no longer add people 3 times faster than we add homes. We're going to continue to have shortages. These 4 steps will reverse the Liberal housing hell, the disaster that has destroyed the dream of home ownership over the last 10 years. We are prepared to work with any party that will adopt these common sense ideas so that we can unleash a real building boom in this country that will mean bigger paychecks for our trades workers, our realtors, mortgage brokers, suppliers. All of them will benefit. The much suffering logging industry will have new demand for its products. So will the steel and aluminum producers have a new market right here at home. You know the great thing about home building? It's Trump-proof. You can't claim that Donald Trump is to blame for housing that happens here, because he cannot put tariffs on housing that we keep in our own country. It is, by definition, a homegrown industry. So when we're facing a losing trade war with China, with the United States, and with others, why not build more here at home? Most of the materials that go in these homes are Canadian materials. We have the land, the labor, and the lumber. And there's no foreign government that can tariff the construction of a Canadian home. This should be the #1 priority. Get building here. Nobody can stop us from doing it. And that's why we're calling on the government to adopt our plan for a new home building boom right across this country by removing the taxes, the red tape, making this the fastest and easiest place to get approved to build a home that will be a wonderful refuge for young families starting out, and that will give big, powerful paychecks for our trades workers across this country. Éliminons le TPS sur l'achat des nouvelles maisons pour tous les acheteurs. Éliminez la taxe sur les gains en capital pour ceux qui réinvestissent dans la construction de logements. Réduisons les taxes de construction des municipalités avec une entente avec le gouvernement fédéral et reprendre le contrôle de l'immigration pour qu'on puisse ajouter des logements plus rapidement qu'on ajoute de personnes. C'est ça un plan pour rebâtir notre économie, pour mettre des grands chèques de paie dans les poches de nos travailleurs dans un pays plus abordable et sécuritaire. Our purpose, as always, is stronger take-home pay, safer streets, solid borders in a self-reliant country, a country where hard work pays off with a beautiful home, good meat and potatoes on the dinner table, in a secure neighborhood with a wonderful Canadian flag hanging off the front porch. Thank you very much. Now let's get it done. Thank you.
Thank you. We will now proceed to questions. Please state your name and outlet.
Michelle Song, CBC News. Mr. Poilievre, how is what you are saying today different from the legislation you proposed before the last election?
It has a lot in common. I put forward a bill in the House of Commons called the Build Homes and Not Bureaucracy Act, which would incentivize municipalities to speed up permits, free up land, and cut development charges. But in addition to that, today I'm proposing to axe the sales tax for all home buyers, not just first-time home buyers. Second, to increase the limit to 1.3 million, because unfortunately, in the GTA today, as amazing as it sounds, you can't get the average house for $1 million. I mean, if I had said that to you 10 years ago, you'd have laughed me out of the room. You would have said it would be so ridiculous to spend $1 million on a middle-class home, but after a decade of liberal housing inflation, that's the reality we face. And then we're also calling for axing the federal capital gains tax for anyone who reinvests in home building or any other reinvestment in Canada. This will cause an incredible boom. It will be like economic rocket fuel. You imagine the number of investors who will sell a dormant asset knowing they won't have to pay tax on it as long as they put it to work building houses in communities like this one. That would mean jobs. And by the way, this will help a lot of people. You might be surprised it's not just big corporations and extremely wealthy investors. A lot of our tradespeople, they buy houses, fix them up, and then resell them as an improved product. They would be able to get out zero capital gains tax as long as they reinvest in another home to add even more supply. So that is the difference between my original proposal and this new enhanced proposal, because the crisis is much bigger now under Mark Carney than it was under Justin Trudeau, and we as Conservatives are here to provide solutions to fix that. Thank you.
Second question.
Bonjour, Monsieur Poilievre, Myrna Djukic, Radio-Canada.
Bonjour.
Vous avez souvent accusé M. Carney de copier vos idées. Vous venez même de l'encourager à copier vos meilleures idées. Est-ce que vous considérez que ce chef libéral est un chef conservateur?
Non, pas du tout. Il est encore plus libéral que Justin Trudeau. Oublions ces mots. Oublions les mots de M. Carney. Le problème, si je peux être très franc, les médias continuent de juger M. Carney selon ses mots au lieu de ses gestes. Parlant de dépenses, il a hérité un gouvernement morbidement obèse de Justin Trudeau. Qu'est-ce qu'il a fait? Il a augmenté le coût du gouvernement de 8 6 plus pour les fonctionnaires, pour les bureaucrates, 37 plus pour les consultants. Un déficit qui pourrait être 2 fois plus important avec M. Carney que celui de Justin Trudeau. Il a gonflé les coûts, il a retardé la construction en ajoutant davantage de bureaucratie et il est en train d'aller à travers le Canada jeter l'argent dans toutes les directions. Ça, c'est pas conservateur. Ça, c'est une continuation de dépenses hors de contrôle qu'on a vu avec Justin Trudeau. Seule chose, c'est que M. Carney est encore pire que Justin Trudeau si on le juge par des résultats et non par la rhétorique. And just in English, no, Mr. Carney is actually more irresponsible than even Justin Trudeau was. He inherited a morbidly obese government from Trudeau, and he's increased its cost by 8%, with 37% more for consultants, 6% more for bureaucracy, and it looks like Mark Carney's deficit will be even bigger than the one that Justin Trudeau left behind. He has 86,000 more unemployed people than Justin Trudeau had. He has not approved a single major national project. He's kept in place all of the liberal soft-on-crime catch-and-release policies. Food price inflation is worse today under Mark Carney than it was under Justin Trudeau. So I think the mistake the media is making is they're judging him by his words rather than by his deeds. Oh, yeah, he's made lots of promises. But Mark Carney has broken every single major promise that he has made. If you want a conservative government that will bring down costs, get shovels in grounds, put criminals in jail, hit the brakes on immigration, and put our country first, you need to vote for a real conservative government. Thank you.
Next question.
Hi there, Ezra Levant from Rebel News. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Back in May, Gregor Robertson, Mark Carney's housing minister, was asked if he wanted the price of housing to come down, and he said no. How do you balance reducing the cost of housing for young families, but also protecting what may be the only nest egg for some seniors and boomers? Where do you draw the balance? How would you like to see pricing actually look for the average home in Toronto or Vancouver?
So, first of all, I just think we need to acknowledge that it is incredible that Mark Carney would pick Gregor Robertson as his housing minister after that, when he was the mayor, Vancouver's housing costs went up by 150%, driven almost entirely by municipal taxes. So the guy who created the worst housing market in North America, forget Canada, by far the most expensive housing market in North America, more expensive than New York City, Los Angeles, Chicago. Carney says that's exactly who we need in charge of housing. Like, talk about failing up. So the first thing that would be different is I would have never named someone like Gregor Robertson. He is the exact epitome of everything wrong with housing in Canada today. As for your question about balancing keeping home prices up versus them coming down, look, the money from a home today does not go to the buyer, the seller, or the builder. It goes to the government. We have to, it's like today, right now, the housing costs are too low for builders to build and too high for buyers to buy. And you would say, well, how could it be both of those things? Well, because the lion's share is going to the government. It doesn't go to these guys. The guys who swing the hammers back here, they're not getting the money. The money is going to government bureaucrats, municipally, provincially, and federally. And what I'm saying is, let's cut the government cost out of housing. Get rid of the sales tax, cut the development charges in half, speed up the permits, zero tax on reinvested gains. If you get the government cost out of building homes, then the buyer, the seller, and the builder will all be winners at the same time. Thank you.
Next question.
Good morning, Mr. Poilievre. Nitin
Yes.
Chopra from Hashtag.
Good to see you.
Parliament is opening soon, and you wrote a letter to Prime Minister Carney that to-do list from all the crises, from immigration crisis to the housing crisis to the crime crisis and to the job loss crisis, all the crises are there. So my question is, we, the Canada, we gave billions of dollars, 22 billion plus $25 billion to Ukraine. How justified is that when our own people are struggling high time, big time, because since last couple of years, you are also highlighting the crisis and crisis and crisis. So how to fix? Canada first, we have not seen the Canada first approach by any of the political party. Canada first, we have seen that other countries are coming first. Taxpayers' money are going out of country. How justified is that? Thank you.
Well, the best way to put Canada first while helping Ukraine is to sell our oil and gas in Europe. The reason Putin can fund his war is because he has a near monopoly on Western European oil and gas purchases. If we had the Energy East pipeline, we could be selling 1 million barrels of Canadian oil to Europe every single day. If we immediately approved LNG plants, we could liquefy tens of billions of dollars of natural gas and send it to Europe to fully displace the Russian sales of gas into that continent and put it into Canadian paychecks. So Mark Carney and the Liberals have blocked every single LNG project that has been put before them. And as a result, we only have one plant. It's on the West Coast, approved by Stephen Harper. If you want to defund Putin and squeeze out all the money that he's using to fund the war, then let's immediately start approving pipelines, LNG plants, export terminals, and send tens of billions of dollars of clean, ethical Canadian natural gas and oil to Europe. Instead of the money going to Putin's war machine, it will go to the trades workers in this country. That is how you put Canada first.
Thank you. This will be the final question.
Good morning, Mr. Poilievre. Mal Hamidi, the Canadian Press. Are you concerned that the consensus in Canada on immigration is slipping? And what would you do, what will you do as a opposition leader to address this issue?
Thank you. Very good question. It is really sad what has happened to the immigration system over the last decade. Before this Liberal government, there was a consensus. Canadians welcomed immigrants in generous numbers, but in numbers that we could absorb. We had enough housing, health care, and jobs for people who came in. Everyone integrated well, lived in beautiful neighborhoods side by side, all different faces from different places and races getting along in harmony. It's incredible to think, we had the system of immigration that was the envy of the world. Literally, other countries from all around the world said, how did Canada do it? 10 years of Liberal government, the rest of the world is looking at us and saying, how did the Liberals screw this up so badly? They've been adding people 3 times faster than homes and jobs, which has created shortages. They brought in too many too fast. They've allowed massive abuses of the international student, temporary foreign worker, and asylum claim system with rampant fraud that happened right under their nose. And as a result, our youth can't find jobs or homes. And so it is very sad that the Liberals have been able to destroy the system so badly in such a short time. Mark Carney promised to be different. Instead, he's worse. He's kept Justin Trudeau's immigration numbers. He's allowing corporations to bring in a record number of temporary foreign workers this year at a time when youth employment numbers are their worst in 3 decades. So while our young people can't find jobs, employers are able to exploit temporary foreign workers by giving them lower wages and terrible working conditions. Let me be clear. Immigrants are not to blame for this mess. They simply followed the rules that the Liberals created, or the lack of rules. They just want to have a better life. And in many cases, they are the victims of a system that abuses and rips them off at the same time as destabilizing our housing, job market, and social services. So the blame does not rest with immigrants or with the broader Canadian population. It is 100% the result of reckless and irresponsible Liberal decisions. Our approach will be to end the temporary foreign worker program so that Canadian jobs go to Canadian workers, to bring the numbers down, bring in the right numbers and the right people to fill jobs we actually need to have filled, for which there are no Canadians, to keep criminals out of this country by having stronger security standards at our borders, and always and everywhere to put Canada first in all of our immigration decisions. Thank you.
Thank you. That
right.
concludes
Thank
today's
you.
press conference.
Thanks, guys.